Has someone you love started to change in quiet but concerning ways? Maybe they've been sleeping more, eating less, or withdrawing from family without explanation. While many assume that death in old age comes suddenly, the truth is, the body often begins its farewell long before the final breath. In many cases, the signs of approaching death appear months, even a year, before it happens. They rarely shout, they whisper, and because they resemble normal aging, they're easy to miss. It's only later, looking back, that families realize the body was giving signals all along. This video is here to help you recognize those signals before it's too late. We're going to walk through 5 quiet but powerful signs that a person may be entering their final stage of life. These aren't meant to cause fear. They're meant to offer clarity, preparation, and peace. Because when you understand what's happening, you don't feel helpless. You feel present. You have time to plan, to listen, to say the things that matter most. So stay with us until the end. What you learn today may change how you walk with someone you love, right to the very end, with dignity, grace, and compassion. Number 1, significant weight loss. One of the first and most visible signs that someone may be approaching their final year of life is unintentional weight loss. It might begin subtly: a looser waistband, meals left unfinished, or a general lack of appetite. But over time, these small shifts become more noticeable. And while it's easy to chalk it up to aging, it's often much more than that. As the body begins to slow down, it stops absorbing nutrients as effectively. Muscle mass decreases, fat stores are depleted, and the person may begin to look more frail, even if they're still eating small amounts. Internally, the body is prioritizing energy for vital functions and letting go of non-essential systems. It's a process we call metabolic withdrawal. Some elderly individuals may lose their sense of taste or simply stop enjoying food. Others may develop trouble digesting certain proteins, leading to muscle wasting and weakness. These physical changes aren't just cosmetic. They directly impact immune strength, energy, balance, and resistance to illness. Even more telling is when someone begins skipping meals without concern or eating noticeably less despite encouragement. This isn't stubbornness. It's the body's way of slowing down its fuel intake because it knows it won't need it much longer. Families often respond with love and effort, offering favorite dishes, protein drinks, or calorie-packed snacks. But when the weight continues to fall, despite all attempts, it's a sign that something deeper is taking place. Forcing food may not help at this stage. Instead, the focus should shift to comfort, hydration, and dignity. So if you notice someone gradually shrinking before your eyes, don't just think they're getting older. Understand that their body may be quietly preparing for the next transition. And in that space, your presence matters more than the plate. Number 2, deep and persistent fatigue. We all get tired from time to time, but in the final year of life, fatigue begins to take on a different shape. It's not just the kind that disappears after a nap. It's a profound, bone-deep exhaustion that seems to settle in and never quite lift. At first, it might look like someone needing more rest during the day or skipping a morning walk they used to enjoy. Then it becomes harder for them to get out of bed. Tasks like getting dressed, preparing meals, or even holding a conversation begin to feel like heavy burdens. What's happening here is more than just getting older. It's the result of the body slowing down its energy systems. As heart function weakens and circulation slows, oxygen and nutrients don't reach the muscles as efficiently. The body starts to ration energy, reserving it for vital functions and stripping it from everything else. This is also the time when metabolism begins to fade. The person may start sleeping more, sometimes 12 to 16 hours a day. Their alertness fades. Their waking hours are shorter and less active. Even staying awake to watch a favorite show can feel like too much effort. What makes this stage especially hard is the emotional impact. People who were once proud of their independence may begin to feel useless or embarrassed. They might stop asking for help, not because they don't need it, but because they feel like a burden. And over time, this fatigue can lead to emotional withdrawal, isolation, and silence. As a loved one, it's easy to think they just need motivation or a push. But this kind of fatigue isn't laziness. It's the body's way of quietly preparing to let go. So how do you respond? You honor their pace. You sit beside them in silence. You bring comfort, not pressure, because in these moments, the greatest gift isn't productivity, it's presence. When you see someone moving slower, sleeping more, and withdrawing gently from activity, recognize that their body's entering a new phase. It's not giving up, it's winding down. Number three, cognitive confusion or emotional withdrawal. One of the most subtle and often most painful changes that can emerge in the final year of life is a shift in how a person thinks, communicates, and connects. It might begin with small lapses in memory, forgetting a name, missing an appointment, or repeating a story they just told. But over time, it evolves into something more concerning: disorientation, confusion, and withdrawal. These cognitive changes aren't always tied to dementia. In many cases, they're a result of reduced blood flow to the brain, a natural consequence of a body that's beginning to slow. As circulation weakens, the brain no longer receives the oxygen and nutrients it needs to function clearly and consistently. This can lead to moments of lucidity followed by deep confusion, struggles with everyday decisions, difficulty following conversations, a sense that they're not quite there, even when physically present. In addition to confusion, there's often a noticeable emotional detachment. The person who once laughed freely, asked about your day, or enjoyed family gatherings may now sit quietly for long stretches, uninterested in talking or engaging. They may seem distant, indifferent, or even unaware of what's happening around them. This isn't because they don't care. It's because their brain and emotions are beginning to turn inward, focusing more on comfort and calm, less on stimulation. For loved ones, this can feel like losing someone before they're gone, and that's one of the hardest parts of this journey, but it's also a chance to shift our focus, not on what's fading, but on what remains. Because even if they don't remember your name, they can still feel your presence. Even if they're quiet, they can still sense your love. And even if they seem withdrawn, they still deserve to feel safe, familiar, and cherished. So when conversation becomes hard, try something else. Sit with them, hold their hand, play music they once loved, speak in a soft voice without expectations. Because in these quiet moments, connection doesn't need words, it just needs kindness. Number four, frequent infections and slow healing. Another quiet yet powerful sign that someone may be entering their final year of life is a noticeable decline in their immune response. The person who used to bounce back from colds, cuts, or mild illnesses may now catch every bug that comes around and take much longer to recover, if they fully recover at all. You may notice that small issues start to linger: a cold that stretches on for weeks, a bruise that never quite fades, a tiny wound that doesn't heal or reopens, a lingering UTI or respiratory infection that keeps coming back. These aren't coincidences. They're signals that the body's natural defense system is growing weaker. With reduced circulation and energy, the immune system has fewer resources to fight off infection and repair tissue. The organs responsible for filtering waste, like the liver and kidneys, also slow down, making it harder to clear toxins and regulate inflammation. And when this happens, even minor infections can become major setbacks. In older adults, it's not uncommon for an infection to present itself without obvious symptoms. Instead of a fever, they might simply seem more tired or confused. A sudden change in behavior or alertness is often the first clue that something is wrong, long before medical tests confirm it. For caregivers and family, this stage is often filled with frustration. It can feel like you're constantly at the doctor's office, or switching medications, or watching setbacks pile up with each passing month. You may find yourself thinking, they just can't seem to catch a break. But the truth is, the body is no longer focused on recovery. It's focused on preservation. That doesn't mean you give up. It means you shift your goal from curing to comforting. Keep their skin clean and moisturized. Help them stay hydrated. Minimize physical stress. Watch for early signs of infection so treatment can be gentle, not drastic. In these moments, what matters most isn't prolonging life at all costs. It's protecting dignity, easing discomfort, and giving them the quiet assurance that they are cared for, not battled over. Because sometimes the best medicine is simply the presence of someone who truly sees them, not as a patient, but as a person. Number five, changes in breathing and circulation. Few things signal the body's final shift more clearly than altered breathing patterns and changes in circulation. At first, the signs may be easy to overlook: a little shortness of breath, cold hands, or needing to sleep with more pillows. But slowly, the body begins to reveal that it is conserving energy and preparing for its final stage. You may notice that your loved one's breathing becomes shallow or erratic. There may be long pauses between breaths or sudden shifts in rhythm where they breathe quickly for a few moments, then slow down again. This pattern, known as Cheney-Stokes respiration, is a common natural occurrence in the final phase of life. At the same time, circulation begins to weaken. Blood flow is redirected away from the limbs and skin to protect vital organs. This is why hands and feet feel cold even in warm rooms. The skin may turn pale, bluish, or take on a mottled appearance. Lips or fingertips may look dusky or purple. These visual cues are not just about discomfort. They are the body's way of signaling that the heart is no longer pumping as strongly. You might also notice that even mild activity, like sitting up or talking, causes shortness of breath. Some people develop a persistent cough or a gurgling sound when breathing, especially while lying flat. These symptoms may be caused by fluid buildup in the lungs, which can occur when the body begins to shut down circulation and filtration. For family members, these changes are often the hardest to witness. They're visible. They sound urgent. The natural instinct is to call the doctor, try a new treatment, or hope for a medical fix. But in this stage, the goal is no longer correction, it's comfort. Use soft pillows to help with positioning. Offer sips of cool water or a humidifier for easier breathing. Speak calmly and slowly. Make the environment peaceful, quiet, and loving. This is not about giving up. It's about meeting the body where it is, with grace and compassion instead of fear or panic. Because in the final chapter, your loved one doesn't need to be saved. They need to feel safe. And knowing how to respond to these signs can turn a moment of fear into a moment of deep connection and peace. As we come to the end of this video, let's take a moment to reflect. Significant weight loss, deep persistent fatigue, cognitive confusion and emotional withdrawal, frequent infections and slow healing, changes in breathing and circulation. Each of these signs may seem small at first. A skipped meal here, a quiet moment there, but together they can paint a bigger picture, one that many families only recognize in hindsight. Recognizing these changes isn't about giving in to fear. It's about honoring the truth of what the body is telling us. When you understand what's happening, you don't feel caught off guard. You feel present, prepared, and deeply intentional about the time that remains. You don't have to rush. You don't have to fix everything. You just have to be there, with love, with softness, with your whole heart. Because the final year of life doesn't have to be filled with panic, denial, or isolation. It can be a time of stories, quiet connection, shared memories, and beautiful goodbyes. So if someone you love is showing any of these signs, take a deep breath. Sit with them. Laugh with them. Ask them questions you've never asked. Say the things you've always meant to say. And remember, this isn't just about watching someone leave. It's about walking with them all the way home. Thank you for being here. If this message touched you, please leave a comment below and share what stood out to you the most. Your presence and your story matter. And if you found this helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share so others can walk this road with the same compassion and clarity.